I'd like to call the May 27th, 2015 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission, regular meeting, to order. And at this time, we'll have a roll call.
Christina Atherton.
Here.
Roger Rowling.
Here.
Matthew Kroll.
Here.
David Castro. Deborah Neer. Adam Katz.
Here.
Michael Welsh.
Here. At this time, we have 4 sets of minutes to approve. We'll do those individually.
Mr. Chair, can you approve the agenda?
Oh, I'm sorry. At this time, then, we will approve the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions?
Mr. Chair, I move that we delete item number 3, public hearing on rezoning requested by Dan Spears on behalf of DMJ Properties
Okay.
from the agenda.
All right, is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay. We moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on that? I'll have a better explanation when we get to item 1 here. No questions or discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the agenda minus item number 3, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign for opposition. Okay, so that passes. Now, we're moving back to approval of the minutes. And we have 4 sets to approve, which we will do individually. So the first set is from our February 25th meeting, 2015. Are there any items that people want to modify or discuss?
I move that we approve the minutes.
Okay, it's been moved to approve the February 25th, 2015 minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor of approval of the February 25th, 2015 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those pass. Next set of minutes are our March 11th, 2015 minutes. Are there any modifications or adjustments people would like to make there?
I move we approve the minutes.
Okay.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the March 11th, 2015 minutes. Any discussion? All in favor of approval of those minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign for disagree. All right, those are approved. April 15th, 2015 minutes. Is there anyone that has something they would like to modify there? Do I hear a motion for approval?
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded for approval of the April 15th, 2015 minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor of approval of the April 15th minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those pass. And the last ones would be the May 13th, 2015 minutes.
I move to approve the May 13th minutes.
Okay, it's been moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded for approval of those minutes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approval of the May 13th, 2015 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, those pass. At this time, we give the citizens an opportunity to comment on any issue that's not on the agenda today. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an issue? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to old business. In these quarters, I want to make sure everybody understands where the podium would be the chair at the end of the table here. If you choose to speak, state your name and address, please. So at this time, we move to old business, a continuation of the public hearing on rezoning request by Dan Sears on behalf of DNJ Properties in order to convert the existing rooming house on 534 College Avenue into single and double occupancy apartments. I have a letter in my possession here. The application regarding the rezoning request of 534 College Avenue have been withdrawn from consideration. To summarize, Dan Sears from DNJ Properties has indicated through his attorney that the petition to rezone has been withdrawn. If you recall, on the April 25th public hearing, the item was continued to the May 13th, and then again to this meeting on May 27th. Staff believes that the hearing needs to be reopened and closed to finalize that previous action. However, no testimony need be given because the item has been removed from consideration. So, at this time, I will go ahead and open the public hearing, or reopen the public hearing for that issue. And not particularly looking for any comment. Is there any? So I will then close the public hearing as per the request of Mr. Sears. And then we'll move on to item 2 on, and that was the reason that we deleted item 3 on the agenda earlier, was that it had not been opened, so hence we don't really need to reopen that. Item 2, continue public hearing on a special use request by James Mason, owner of 1888 State Street, to allow a vehicle tow storage yard on the subject property. As you will recall, I believe this was on our meeting on May 13th. I believe. Yeah, May 13th. And we asked that it would be continued to this meeting so there could be some more discussion on that item. Again, I'm opening that for public hearing tonight. Does staff have any statements to make?
Yes. So what you have before you tonight is a special use permit for the property located at 1888 State Street. The applicant is intending to change the use of the property to a vehicle storage or towing lot. As such, under the heavy industrial zoning, we require that it's the applicant file for a special use permit. Simply put, the applicant would demise the building with the front office area, lease multiple parties and rent a portion of the office for, and have internal storage and outdoor storage to allow for Tri-State Towing, who is one of the, who would be leasing the vehicle storage lot area upon approval of this application. Additionally, since there is no change in the paved area that's being requested, we are not requiring any additional stormwater detention improvements. And finally, before the applicant gives their presentation, just some conditions that staff has outlined for this. You can find on the final page of the staff report, there are 8 of them. 1, no stacking of automobiles. 2, no stacking of automobile parts higher than 8 feet. 3, no parking or storage of vehicles or equipment used in the operation of the business on the grassy area, which is lot 6, or anywhere outside of the fence. 4, there shall be no crushing of vehicles at the facility. 5, the unimproved surface or the gravel to the east of the asphalt parking lot will be converted back to a grass area. 6, abandoned and salvaged vehicles, except for those vehicles under the control of the court of law, shall not be kept on the property for more than 90 days. 7, that all conditions established in the special use permit are applicable to the owner and all successors and assigns. And 8, approval by the Federal Aviation Agency, or FAA, Form 7460. So with that, I would welcome the applicant or their representative to give their presentation.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay. I am Keith Foster, an attorney from DeKalb, but actually practice in Sycamore now, 27 years in DeKalb. And I represent Jim Mason, who was supposed to be here, and he's on his way, but he called me just a few minutes ago and said he's running late, whatever that is. I just heard the train whistle. I was thinking, oh, there's another couple. So Jim may be walking in and may be able to answer any questions that you might have that I can't answer. But in the meantime, I will say I've read through the staff report, and I can represent to the Plan Commission on behalf of Jim that all of the conditions that the staff is recommending are acceptable to Jim. It works perfectly with what he wants to do. So really, other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions that I can answer.
Okay. Are there questions from the commission?
What was the height of that fence?
I think it's that he proposes.
Yeah.
10 feet. Yeah.
Okay. Other questions? Seeing none, we may ask you to speak again.
That's fine.
Is that that's the completion of
Okay.
what you want to present? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
At this time then, I would open up the opportunity for anyone to speak about this issue to the public. Again, if you want to do that, you'd sit and give us your name and address and whatever comments you have. Okay.
It's nice for you just to agree on all the conditions.
Is there, so let's have a second call on that opportunity to speak to the issue.
I have a question. Is there,
Please.
can we see the plans? I didn't see where they, thank you.
There you go. One of Caleb's 74 trains a day. All right. Seeing is how they're, go ahead.
The fence, what type of a fence is it?
It's a
chain link,
chain link, thank you.
and it's 95% a peak. It's gonna be site proof.
Yeah.
It's gonna have the
Yes.
slats in it, so it's site proof. You can't see into it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I guess
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, my name's Matt Johnson. I live at 801 Woodlawn Drive in DeKalb. I will be renting the property from Jim Mason. Yes, we store cars there. We don't fix cars. I don't have a repair shop. I don't have a body shop. The only thing I fix is my own vehicles, my own tow trucks. So other than that, there's no tearing cars apart. There's no construction of cars. We don't do any of that. So we don't stack cars now. We've been in business since 2000. So I mean, we've been doing this already at 1438 Pleasant Street. That property's never gonna meet the criteria. So that's why I moved on towards Jim Mason. Of course, I can't afford to buy a building on my own, so I give us some money to buy the building. Any questions I can answer for you, I'd be glad to.
Any questions for the tenant? Thank you. All right, stalling a little bit to see if Mr. Mason arrives in a minute or two. Is there anybody else that wants to ask a question or present facts?
I do.
Go ahead.
I'll wait for
Oh,
Jared to come back.
In the meantime, let me share this language from you out of the Unified Development Ordinance, and I'll speak to that in a second. Under special uses, number 8, junkyards, salvage yards, vehicle wrecking yards conducted within an enclosed building or surrounded by a solid site-proof fence not less than 10 feet in height, or the height of the materials being screened. And I guess it's that solid site-proof fence. I heard 95% opacity.
That was the original time I was applying for a special use permit where I'm
Right.
at now. So I went under, and then Jim knows all the,
Okay. The question I would have for the group is 95% solid and site-proof. We don't define what that is. I'm bringing it up for your edification.
Have there in the past been slat fences that we called 100%, or?
I can only speak to what exists in the community. Certainly, this is the most cost-effective way to establish some type of screening element. The most localized one I can think of is just a block north and east of us, all along Lincoln Highway. There is a contractor yard that has the slats in there. It's probably not 95%, it's probably closer to 70% opacity. You can see through it, you can see people, it just provides a transparency, if you will, or some effect of that. So there are systems out there, and I think when we were talking, Matt and I, about the previous idea that he had for the special use, there are other types of systems. I've not seen a slat system. I think what we were talking about was a mesh type of system.
yeah,
Is
that's
that-
the 95%.
that
That's what I
fair?
put on my gate that I have now at 1438.
And so I guess from perspective, if you can stand in front of it and see through it, that's not a site-proof fence. And so I don't know what 95% does. But to me, a privacy fence and a site-proof fence, as the code contemplates, is not one that you can see through. And I don't know, can you see through your
Yeah,
family?
you can, if the sun's right.
But you have to really be seen, I mean, when you drive by there,
You have to focus on it.
yeah.
Understood.
So as far as residency, what's like the nearest property?
From 1888,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any, probably 3 or
Is there
4
even,
blocks.
No, you're south of the tracks.
okay. So I'm thinking in terms of anyone looking out their yard, they won't be able to see the transparency then. Okay.
Just what the code requires.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Is there going to be any landscaping running parallel to the fencing or not?
I think it's up against the grounds that are already there, the grass that's already there.
Just making sure I'm looking at the right area in the map here.
So
Go ahead.
the picture that's,
That's what I thought. I just want to make sure. Okay, so
the picture that's provided with our backup that has a grassy area with the trees, is that where
That's
you're
the property
talking,
line.
that's it.
and that's where the fencing's gonna go?
No,
Is that
the
what-
fencing will go
Oh,
into the
all right.
dark area.
The black shot probably. Okay, any other, the third call for questions? Okay, please.
When I first got into towing, I was down on 4th Street, and in the middle of it, there was a, I don't know if it's ordinance or state law, that you had to be 110 feet from the closest road or public highway. Same when I built out here, I had to be 110 feet off 38 before I could build.
For the storage part,
For the storage.
or
I'm sorry?
for the storage part?
For the storage.
Yeah, okay.
And I guess, there's no advantage to the city, not that, when we do towing, there's no tax collected for the city.
Understood.
It's just, there's one other thing I was gonna say, but I forgot what it was.
Is there, what he's trying to ask, is there going to be any setback
110
restrictions
feet. We wouldn't-
from East Avenue?
Do we believe that was
Or is
state
that
code
regulated?
or?
I'm not even familiar with,
We were restricted to that
Okay.
when we built.
When did you build, Bill?
90.
In 90, okay.
But I added on to my place in 90, 2000. And I had
Okay.
to put up a 12-foot fence screen. Now they're saying they can get away with a 10-foot.
Well, that may have been the height that you wanted, what types of things, like you probably store more trucks than, no?
Had nothing to do.
Okay, okay.
And 2000 and, well, in 95 when I built it, the ordinance was 10 feet. And I put on this new addition on ones, and I forget what year it was, but I was told it had to be a 12-foot fence.
Okay.
Doing the same exact thing I'm doing now. If there wasn't any difference, I don't know why it's not. And then retention ponds, things like that, I had to put in.
Yeah, and what I heard staff saying today was that was waived because of the fact that it was already blacktop, that was grandfathered into that location.
Correct, and there's no change to the pavement, or the
Pavement.
pavement, yes.
Okay. How about the 110 feet setback? Is there?
I don't know that. No, I've never heard that.
Okay.
I can
Was it
tell you,
state?
when I was down on 4th Street, Bill Nichols, who's the city, how big a city, he might have been city. He's the one that told me that, or he might have been, head of one of these departments, he had a bunch of them when he was here.
Sure.
He actually come down and held the tape measure on 4th Street. But
Okay.
I don't know if it's a state law because it's a salvage yard, junk yard, whatever, storing yard. At both times, I have my building 45 feet off.
Okay. Well, if in the interim between now and the city council meeting, if it passes tonight, there's some time to look for what that was, and maybe still exists, but is unknown at this point. And if you find that that's the case,
Thank you very
that
much.
would be good. Thank you, Bill. Any other questions?
Fire.
Did you think of what it was? Okay.
Okay. I also had to have a fire lane for the fire department, so they could have access to it. I brought a car in that had burned, the fire department put it out on 88,
Sure.
and when I come into town, the back of the flatbed, it caught on fire. Again, some magnesium or something.
Interesting. Yeah.
I had to have the fire department come out, so that was one thing that.
Is the fire lane inside of the fence or outside?
So that fire department can get down through there to a burning car, you might have 10 cars there, you might have 50 cars there.
Sure.
Which dramatically reduces the capacity of the yard.
Space.
And that's just like an apartment building, that's a restricted area that we can't utilize.
Understood. Has fire looked at this plan?
The simple answer is yes.
Good.
There was no commentary given that a fire lane be established. Now, it's not to say that that wouldn't be their ask. Upon operation, I don't know that answer.
Okay.
I've noted it, but I don't have an answer for it.
Okay.
The root's in it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you? Okay. All right. So this is the third request for whether anyone would like to speak before the commission.
I told you.
Would you like to add anything to what we've heard from your attorney?
What did you say? I said, you're a good guy.
That you're on your way.
I apologize, I had to go to Chicago.
Jim,
Okay.
if you're going to
Okay.
speak, that'd be a great place to do it. Name, address.
Jim Mason, 5 North 214 Wilton Croft Road, St. Charles, local businessman. I bought the Masco building about 6 months ago, and the day that I was in the building area, I went over to see the owner, and about 2 o'clock that afternoon, I met with the city manager,
the city attorney and the police chief, and I mentioned to him that this was an opportunity to have another company that could tow in the DeKalb area. The chief was very happy about it, and everybody said, well, we'll do everything we can to make this happen. So I put together the information and working with Derek here to have photometrics up to date, fencing up to date, and the 8 issues that my attorney alluded to, I accept. I have one other tenant in there, and then I have 6,000 square feet of office space where the old Masco building employees worked. That is for rent for, I've had some inquiries, and so eventually that'll be a passive use with office space. I was going to use part of the building more for myself, but this gentleman decided, he needed more of it, so I'm basically going to only occupy 10-15% of the building myself. So, any questions?
Any questions?
I rest.
Okay, thank you. You can come to the podium and, sir.
Mr. Mason made a statement that he talked to the police chief and that they needed another relocator. Mr. Johnson from Tri-State's already a relocator.
Could you speak up a little? Sorry, it's kicking through.
Mr. Mason made a statement that told all the city employees, whoever, that we could use another relocator. Matt Johnson, Tri-State Jones, been a relocator for years. I don't know who the new relocator would be. It just doesn't, the statement doesn't make sense.
Okay,
Can I clarify that?
please.
I misspoke. He's already a relocator, except his landlord wanted him to move, or his landlord could not accommodate what he needed, and they were not up to taking care of the property the way that the city wanted to, and I'm willing to do it.
For police tows.
For police tows. No, they don't need another relocator, the two of them can handle it, in my opinion. But I think in the city's opinion too.
Okay, that answers the question.
Acceptable.
Okay, all right. All right, everyone now has had 3 opportunities to speak. I'm going to mention that one more time, and then we're going to close the public part of that hearing. Anyone like to add anything else?
I could try to clarify what I was trying to do. Matt Johnson, what I did is applied for the city police towing. I didn't fit the criteria at 1438 Pleasant Street. My landlord, of course, I moved up to a 10-foot fence. He used to have an 8-foot, then I went to 10. So I built a 10-foot fence. I have one person that butts right up to the property, that has a nice backyard and a pool. I want to build her a billboard. I mean, it's right on our property line. So I didn't do that. I left it down. I didn't fit the criteria, so I could never tow for the police department.
Okay.
I do relocate. I relocate a lot of cars. I want to tow for the police department. I want to do it all. So to do it all, I have to move and fit the criteria for the city to come. That's when I talked to Jim Neeson. He's willing to help me. I want to go through this.
Okay. And you won't be on that other location at all, or?
Nope.
Okay.
I'll be gone from there.
All right, thank you. Does staff have any other further comments?
Not this time.
Okay. So at this time, seeing no other comments to be made, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and refer it back to the commission for discussion. What are people's thoughts, questions? Do I hear a motion?
make a motion to approve the petitioner's request for a special use by James Mason, 1888 State Street, to allow vehicle storage in the store area on the subject property.
Second?
And friendly amendment is that to
Sorry.
include the eight
Oh,
issues.
Yes, subject to agreeing to the 8 issues as within the agenda.
And that's acceptable?
second.
Okay,
Sorry.
no problem. Okay, any discussion on now the motion? Derek?
I'm sorry. We probably should identify what the fence is, so there's not any confusion or concerns here.
Okay, we did have that as an open topic earlier.
So do we have to take a motion off the table?
No.
We can amend.
Do we want to indicate that that is per the city planner's discretion? Or would you like us to define that?
You can leave it out, and the assumption it goes back to code, and like the code standard, it is approved. But
Okay.
what you heard is something different tonight at 95. Can we make it closer to privacy beyond the 95% opacity?
I
guess
don't know
is
if
the
it's
question.
possible to go past 95, but if it is, we'll do it.
Okay. Good enough.
Okay, so we're not mentioning it, so it goes back to code and,
By not mentioning it, that's standard then there?
Yeah, it's in the code. I just heard a variance from the standard.
makes sense. Okay, so we continue to have that motion on the table. Any further discussion on that? Is there anyone that would like to call that question?
I would like to call the question.
All right. Let's have a roll call. And do I need to restate the issue or the motion? We're accepting the plan, which acknowledges the 8 questions that city staff had asked, and they are going to be fulfilled. Okay? Roll call.
Christina Atherton,
Yes.
Roger Rowling,
Yes.
Matthew Kroll,
Yes.
David Castro, Deborah Neer, Adam Katz,
Yes.
Michael Welsh.
Yes. Okay, so the item passes on number 2. As you'll recall, we deleted item 3. Is there any other announcements that staff would like to make?
No.
Do we have an item on the agenda in our mid-June meeting?
Not yet, I believe we passed the time when we could.
Pretty close anyway, okay. So we should expect kind of an end of June meeting.
Potentially.
Potentially.
End of June, first in July.
Okay,
Depends when they turn in the materials.
okay. No future considerations? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So
We have
moved.
Elections coming up too.
What's that?
We have elections coming up.
In July.
And bylaws. Yeah, so keep that
Okay.
in mind.
Okay. All right, there was a motion for adjournment. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned.